What's up guys, Pete Ho here. Today I'm going to do some charcoal grilling with a 50-day dry-aged ribeye steak with the bone in. And I'll also be showing you guys some of my technique and also the way that I like to do my charcoal grilling for a nice piece of dry-aged steak. So come on, and let's get to it. The charcoal we'll be using today is straight out of Japan. The name is called Kishu Binchotan. It's straight out of Wakayama Prefecture. And it's basically a pure carbon charcoal. So it basically lasts you a long time, typically probably 4 to 5 hours of burning time. And the heat is just super hot. And it also gives a lot of flavor to the product that you'll be grilling, which is perfect for what we're doing because we're doing the steak. And with a lot of fat, when the fat goes onto the charcoal, comes up with fucking smokiness of the white charcoal, the flavor is just, you can't beat it. It's perfect. Because they come in sometimes a little long, you just break it into your, you see how dense these charcoals are. Okay, so now we'll just put these inside. Chimney. This is probably good for today. Because of the high density of this Kishu Binchotan, usually it takes about 35 to 45 minutes, sometimes up to an hour, to light the charcoal and get it nice and red and ready for grilling. So usually I like to do it with the turkey fryer, like outdoors, and also make sure that you actually light the charcoals outdoors because it's for a lot of safety reasons. So I like to use the turkey fryer because the firepower is actually a lot stronger than your regular cassette burners. So as we're waiting for the charcoal to light up, it's actually almost there. We can actually start smelling some of the scent from the charcoal burning, and that's actually the sign that it's almost ready. Depending on your firepower, if you use one of those cassette burners, it might take you up to 35 to 45 minutes. But with the turkey fryer that I have, it probably took around 15 to 20 minutes or so, and it will be ready. And the point the point to keep in mind is to make sure that you burn this at an open space, as well as keeping your charcoal super dry as possible from any moisture. So keep them within the cardboard box that it came with, within another bag, and then maybe throw in some newspapers to keep it nice and dry, to prevent like some crackles while you're burning the charcoals. And those are just the things that you want to make sure that you keep in mind so you don't burn your house down. So here are what we'll be using for the grill today. The 50-day dry-aged ribeye steak with the bone in. I save a little bit of the fat cap from this side. This will be used to season the grill as well as to season the steak. And for the seasoning of the steak, I have a salt and pepper mixture here. It's from Daisho. I love this seasoning, as well as a sea salt and some sake. This could be any sake that you can buy from like the liquor store, like something cheap is good enough. So I'll be using these to season the steak before we put them on the grill. And as for the condiments, I have 2 condiments today. I have the fresh wasabi. I have a tutorial on how to grate the wasabi in different ways with different graters, so you can check out my video on that. And I have the Japanese yellow mustard, which is like, this is actually really spicy, so it'll go really well with the nigiri soy that I made. Also, in my other tutorial, you can take a look on how to make the nigiri soy. So I'm fanning the charcoal right now just to kind of introduce a little more oxygen so it can burn at a higher temperature. This way it'll this way it'll get hotter. Duh. So the fat cap that I saved to season the grill, once I season it, there's gonna be some fat melted. So I basically use this to rub the steak all over the steak to make it a little like shine and like sticky. Then I will season it with a little bit of sea salt as well as the dietary salt and pepper mixture, and make sure that all the seasoning is like packed in. Do that on both sides. Okay. Don't forget the top as well. The top I usually just do salt and without the fat, because you have all the fat here anyway. So there we go. Nice seasoned steak. Ready to grill, baby. So let's season this grill. Oh my god, look at that. I wish you guys can smell this. I'm getting hungry already. Woo! Let's just eat the fat. Okay. So constantly I will like fan to give it more oxygen, just to make sure that the heat is, you know, nice and hot, because when you put something cold over it, it's actually, it'll get, the temperature actually drops. So you might, time to time, you want to like just kind of flip it to get a different hot spots. Flip. You guys gotta smell this. You gotta try this at home, man. This is, yeah. The charcoal might be a little bit harder to source, but even if you're just using like a lump charcoal, it'll work. It gives a different flavor, but nothing beats charcoal grilling a nice piece of steak. So now we got both sides. I like to flip them onto the cap side, where there's more of the fat cap over here. So we just want to get some color in there. The whole process will probably take around 45 to 50 minutes. It's really like a labor of love. You don't want to rush this process, because the way that we're grilling it, it's this on and off the grill. It will really like result in a very super tender steak, yet you don't even lose any of the juice. Obviously you have to wait for it to rest before you can actually slice into it. So now that we've got some color on all sides of the steak, we can take it off the heat right now and let it rest. Before we do that, this is a spray sake. This way also slows down the cooking process because it cools down the steak a little bit. Also, it adds in another flavor dimension. So now we'll let it rest for another 3 to 4 minutes before we start grilling again.
So what are we gonna do for 3 to 4 minutes?
Well, they pop a beer, have some wine. One of my favorite vineyards locally, and their wine. This is while you wait. Very nice. The more you grill, you can really tell from the sound of the sizzling, as well as even just from the smell. You can sort of tell like how high your heat is, like how hot the charcoal is, and this way will like it's really just from experience. You want to like also move the steak constantly, and instead of like leaving it in one spot, because we're grilling with like with charcoal, like, so it's not on a stove where the heat is actually more evenly spread out. There's a lot more variables, which actually makes it more fun, but you also just need more experience and just need more practice with it. But the outcome is gonna be just incredible. I'm flipping it. Okay. Wow. Yep, this will go well with the steak. I'm getting buzzed, man. Now this is our 5th time putting the steak on the grill. You can start doing your, your steak test to see like the firmness. And if you want to make sure that you get it right, just get a meat thermometer. Okay, so you cannot go wrong with that way. And one thing to keep in mind is that when you're cooking with dry aged steak, because of all the moisture loss, the steak cooks a lot faster than regular steak, because there's less moisture, so it'll cook up a lot faster. So keep in mind. The hardest part with grilling the steak is probably just to let it balance. And you can see like the color change on the steak from the Maillard reaction, we call it. That just means more flavor. Whoa. Hey man, nothing always fits, right? This grill is a little small, a little big for this wire mesh. So good save, Peter. Okay, so we're taking it off the heat, and then do one more sake spray. At this point, we can do a quick probe test to see where we at with the temperature, the internal temperature of the steak. So I have this setting in Celsius. So we're looking for something around 50 to 51. So you see how it's going down? Basically means that center part is actually, we're not even close. Well, almost. This will probably be another once or twice on the charcoal, and then we'll let it rest once we reach 50 to 51 degrees Celsius, and then we're good. So we're on to our final sear for the steak, and for the final sear, we want to make sure that it's like the charcoal is super hot, so we get a nice crust on the steak. We'll also readjust the charcoals inside to make sure that it's like as high as possible, or closer to the mesh wire you have here. This way you can get like a really nice hot scent, like hot area, the super hot spot. Ready to go? Ready to go. Yes, we're ready to go. Let's go. Ready? There you go. Different sizzle. Flavor and sizzle. So again, I'm always moving it. Nice. So now we're at 53.5 50.5, 56, 54, which is good because we want it to be between 50 to, you know, the ideal temperature, like before we slice it would be like 55 to 56. So at this point we can just cover it up and let it rest, and then it'll go up in temperature. And we'll rest for maybe 15 to 20 minutes and we should be good. Okay, so once we get this off the grill, we will just cover it with the tin foil. We'll let this rest for around 15 to 20 minutes, and don't rush into cutting it, because otherwise all the juice will just like come out. You know, just be patient, and I promise you the wait is gonna be totally worth it. Okay. So this is the container that I use to put out my charcoal. Some people like to use water, put them in water. Yes, that way it cools down the charcoal and stops it from burning. But I prefer this way. Basically, once, you know, because charcoal needs oxygen to burn. So basically, if you put out the oxygen, it will stop burning. And I think this way, it's like a more efficient way, because even if you put it in water, you still need to dry it out and before you want to use it again. Otherwise, like a wet charcoal or moist charcoal is just going to take forever to light up, right? So this is the way that I like to put out my charcoal, is basically just put it in a container along with all the leftover charcoals. You line them up. It still will be hot, so just be careful. Like, just because it's not burning anymore doesn't mean it's not hot. So it's still really hot, but yeah. And then you just have a nice lid to close it up. So once the oxygen is shut off, it will stop burning, but just be careful because it's still going to be hot. This is basically the simplest and the fastest way to put out a charcoal. Before we slice into the steak, we can grate the wasabi maybe like 10 minutes beforehand. This way the full aroma of the wasabi will come out. So you guys can follow check out my other video on grating wasabi. Okay. Okay, so here I have the Japanese yellow mustard. We call them karashi. It's actually quite spicy, so I think it matches really well with the nikiri soy sauce, nikiri joyu. Just because from the fattiness of the steak, it balances out quite nicely. So we just put the soy sauce. So let's slice this baby up. So let's detach the meat from the bone. Okay, nice. I'll set the bone here. The way I like to carve the steak, I usually separate them. So here here's the end part. This is the eye, which is like the tender, like the really tender part. Here's the cap, which is actually my favorite part to eat. So we'll just separate it. Okay. Okay. And then we can start slicing it. Alright. Again, like the cap is one of my favorite cuts from a ribeye. It's full of flavor. It's not just tender, but like, you know, you get full flavor from the steak there. Okay, put the cap on top of here. There we go. Let's see what this steak tastes like. Wasabi soy sauce? Hell yeah. Lots of wasabi. Still very pungent, but over time the wasabi will mellow out. But the spiciness actually plays really well with the fattiness of the steak. Super tender, and the nigiri soy, I can actually taste a little bit of the bonito, so it adds another umami to the whole steak. I actually get more flavor as I chew, and I just don't want to swallow it because it tastes so good. You guys should definitely try this at home. Make sure that you actually get a nice piece of steak, some charcoal, like whatever you can find, and just follow the steps that I gave you guys and give it a try. I hope you guys liked and enjoyed the video today. I definitely had a lot of fun grilling. Let me know if you guys want, like, on the comment and like what you want to see me grill next. And if you enjoyed the video today, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Burn the motherfucker. Yeah.
That's it?
That's it, man.
You sure?
I think so.
Any last words?
Huh? What do I say?
That's true. It's getting cold, right?
Huh?
The meat's getting cold.
Yeah.
All right.
Pack this.
Everyone wants to see you stuff your whole mouth with meat.
Eat it?
Yeah.
Like, really put it in my mouth? You're kidding, right? It's a lot of fucking mustard. It's a trick. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling.
Okay. What's up, guys? Pete Ho here. Today we're gonna be grilling some. No, today we're going to charcoal grill some 50-day dry aged ribeye steak with the bone in. So while we're waiting for the charcoal to light up, here's our